All right. Aloha. How are we doing tonight? So I wasn't going to do a live stream tonight. Normally after I do live streams that have guests. I usually take a day off and stuff. But this, I saw a couple of articles today, just recently within the last 30 to 45 minutes, that caused me to want to jump on real quick and just give you guys kind of an update on this grand solar minimum that we're going on. And it's something that I have personally noticed because of my victory garden, of my garden that I've been growing. I've been having to bring them in at night when I shouldn't, because it's gotten so cold at night that a lot of my leaves are starting to die from the coldness. So I've been having to bring them back in. And this was after I learned how to harden them and make sure that, you know, they weren't going to be susceptible to colder temperatures. But I was thinking like 50, 55 degrees in the morning. And it's been, it was 29 degrees here in Western North Carolina a couple days ago. Having weather like that, and I'm not talking about it goes away at 9 o'clock when the sun comes out. It'll stay anywhere from 30 degrees to 50 degrees from sun up until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And it's been causing my plants to die. And so we're going to look at this article here real quick. It's now just Ice Age Farmer also tweeted this out. That's where I saw it from. And he says that they paint this beautiful picture in this article, but they do acknowledge the freezing. So you're going to hear optimism in this, and I'm not against optimism. I'm just letting you know that the grand solar minimum is something that's out of our control. It's not something that we can help or hinder. Well, we can hinder it, but we can't help it. I'm sorry, we can help it, but we can't hinder it. We can help propagate this thing, make it worse, but we can't go up to the sun and fix it. And so I actually got not into a tussle, but I had this YouTube channel. This guy come in and the only other video I did on a grand solar minimum, he said that it was nonsense and that I didn't know what I was talking about. And so I went and checked his channel out, and you know, he seems like he's a doctor, but that's the thing. What evidence do you have anymore that when someone tells you there's something online, how do you verify that without having their doctor's license number, having their nursing license number, having any of that stuff? And he had all these videos on the sun and on you know, astrological. It says in his thing that he's an astrophysicist and all this stuff. And what are you doing making YouTube videos? A. And B, I couldn't get through any of his videos because his voice was so monotonous. He talks like this, and numbers are important to him because he doesn't get any sex in life. So it didn't discourage me, but I had to like rethink myself. It's like, wait a minute, well, maybe I'm just reading into the headlines and shit like what I accuse other people of doing. Let me do some research, some further research as to whether or not this grand solar minimum is actually a real thing. Here's the problem, though. It's that momentary weakness of my own, thought process was quickly rectified when I just, turned on and looked at all the articles of crops failing and all these different things that happened during a grand solar minimum and have happened all across time. And so we're gonna get into this, that this grand solar minimum is no joke. It's going to be serious. I don't know how long it's going to be. It could be anywhere from 5 years to 100 years. We don't know. We can only go off of what we've observed in the last, 2,000 years, and that's not a very long period of time. All right, so the freeze hits during ahead of average planting process. The USDA's meteorologist said there is a good news and bad news regarding planting progress last week. Brad Rippey says that the good news is both corn and soybean planting are ahead of the 5-year average, as ahead of the last year at 76 and 38%. So get this. Before I go any further, this is misleading. I want you to understand this, that when they say that corn and soybean are planting ahead of their 5-year schedule, that doesn't mean that we have a surplus of corn and soybean. That means that they're just planting it faster than they normally do. They have to plant it faster than they normally do because the farmers are the first ones to realize what's going on with the sun, and they're trying to adjust their growing mechanisms to try and offset any future losses in their crops. We have lost upwards of 50% of our corn and our soybean and our sugar beets over the last 2 years. So that's the good news, is that people are starting to try to combat this. The bad news is there's nothing you can do to combat it. If you continuously plant your crops in soil that constantly gets flooded, that constantly gets frostbitten, that constantly turns into mud, you're an idiot. You're not going to grow anything there anymore. That's the way grand solar minimums work. They shift the dynamics and the dichotomy of the earth. They cause human migrations. We have to go to areas after this solar minimum takes its toll, and find the areas that we can grow again, if it's not the same areas afterwards. All right. So with all these states, we're largely hit by statewide freezes on May 9th and May 10th. There will certainly be an effort to watch that crop to see how much damage was done. So we still don't even know how much damage was done to it yet. But he says less soybean has emerged than corn, but 20% of the nation's planted crops in states hit by the freeze, including Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin, the breadbasket of America. This is the concern. There is concern for soybeans, which tend to be less hardy with respect to freezes than corn early in the season. So there's a possibility we could lose our soybean. And look, we make a lot of things in our products with. Just think about how much is in that we use cornstarch for corn syrup. These things are in hundreds, if not thousands, of products. So when you lose crops, especially staple crops like soybeans and like sugar beets and like corn and like wheat and like barley, the common person may not understand is that the vast amount of ramifications of ripples that go out when that product is in short supply. So not only do you have a food issue, you have a production issue with some of the things that require this, such as cornstarch or corn syrup or soybean extractor. You can make all the jokes you want about, soy boys and stuff like that. But truthfully, soybean is very important and very, detrimental to our way of life if things like those go away, which they're going away. So I just wanted to, this isn't going to be a very long video. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update. I've had a couple people ask me to do an update on the grand solar minimum. And the truth is that I'm not one of those sensational type of people where every day when I get an article, I got to jump on and do it. So that's what this is today. But it wasn't the only article that I came across. It was just the shortest one that I could find that was trying to get my message across. Is that the experts that keep telling me that there's no grand solar minimum, or the same people that keep telling me there's no virus, are the same people that keep telling me we're going to have a V-shaped recovery, are the same people that keep telling me that the government's going to step in and save us no matter what. So I've told people, don't worry about what other people think online anymore. Just speak your truth. As long as you're not lying, speak your truth, right? Because what is a lie but the absence of truth? So just if you want to get into streaming and you want to get into content, like I had Daniel on last night. He's in the chat now, and it was great. It was phenomenal. I love talking to people that have different aspects, different perspectives, different knowledge bases. There are things that he brought up that I didn't know anything about. I had to write down and do some research on after the show, just so that maybe in the future I can. But that's the point, is I don't want to bring someone on that I know more than. Because what's the point of bringing them on if I have to constantly correct them every 5 minutes when they say something wrong, right? So it's always great when you find people in chat and in your live streams that have these immense knowledge base. And so I'm always looking forward to bringing people on. I don't care what your expertise is. I just care about your opinion. As long as you're not spouting out a bunch of crazy stuff, go online and start speaking your truth. And what I mean by crazy stuff, obviously I don't have to go into detail about that, but like, you start telling me about how there's a conspiracy that cats are trying to take over the world and you've got proof. No, cats aren't trying to take over the world, and if they are, we should let them. So, but yeah, I really appreciate, Daniel, you're here tonight, and men go their own way. He's here tonight. This isn't going to be any more longer than probably 20 minutes, but I am planning another grand solar minimum video. The difference is this time is that I'm really going to do some research. I'm going to really get some numbers and some data and some fact. I'm going to get article after article after article that confirms and reinforces this idea, so that this next go around, when I do this video, I'm not going to have a bunch of fucking idiots come up and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, which could be true. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't understand the science, but I understand common sense. And common sense tells me that we have a food shortage. I can read, and articles for the last 2 to 3 years have been saying food shortage. The sun is changing colors, which is causing all of these different things to happen in our weather. You don't have to be a doctor to see what the sun is doing and what is not doing. See, we get hung up on that concept that a man with a tag of science, that is to say, that a man that has a doctorate or a PhD, is somehow smarter than everybody else. Well, there's no such thing as an all-encompassing smart person. For everything a smart person knows, he's ignorant and she's stupid in something else. I know a lot of stuff, but for everything that I know, there's an infinitesimal amount of things that I don't. And it's very easy to make a fool out of me. If, for example, I went on to a live stream and people were talking about complex mechanisms, and I go in there and start spouting off that I know all about the pulley, right? I'll just look like an idiot. So I try to do research, and I try to get some type of, if I find an article that backs my point, I immediately try to go and see if the article is real or fake, or if it's been disproven. Because the last thing I want to do is go up and get online and give people a bunch of nonsense that's not true. And that's sensationalizing things. You just jump on it immediately because it's news and it generates views and it generates likes. And I don't give two shits about that. I give two shits about giving you guys the truth as far as I can tell it. I don't care about subscribers and I don't care about any of that stuff. It's not that I'm not grateful that you guys subscribe. It's just not my goal. I don't make money from this. I don't need to make money from this. I'm fine. I don't need ad revenue. I don't need to monetize my videos. I don't need to add commercials. I don't need any of that. I don't need a PayPal link account. None of that. So then why do I do it? Two reasons. The first reason is to hear my own self speak, because that's the truth. We all do. And the second reason is because I feel like I have something to say. And so long as I have something to say, I'm going to say it in the way that I best know how. And I will present evidence and information to you to the best way that I know how. And I'm telling you that this grand solar minimum is going to rock us in a way that this virus never can, in a way that this economy never can. It doesn't mean that it's worse or better. It just means that it's going to affect us in ways that we don't understand yet, because it's not man-made. You see, this economic collapse is man-made. This pandemic is man-made. I'm not talking about the virus, but the pandemic is man-made. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and where did I get my thing? I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And Daniel's going to say, is there a practice to do 2 corn plantings a year, or do they stagger varieties? They do. They stagger varieties. It's because, and I've learned this. This is new. Certain times of the year you have to germinate, plant your seeds, because certain seeds are more hardy, like corn can withstand colder temperatures. So when you start planting in May, in April, May, and stuff like that, that's a good time. March, I think, is maybe just a little too early, but you can plant corn in March. I got a buddy that did in Washington, and he's fine with it. But things like asparagus, you've got to plant later. Things like cantaloupe, you've got to plant later. So they definitely stagger their crop, but that's as much as I can tell you. So anyway, so I just wanted to give you guys an update on that one article, and just let you guys know that we're having freezes today. We're on record to have basically winter come back in May. We're having these temperatures across the country and across the world that is just unheard of. It's not normal. Grand solar minimal. So, oh yeah, you're welcome on that. Yeah, the peroxide trick. Yeah, it worked for mine too. I learned it on YouTube. So I was just, I was learning, I was looking up like, why are my plants turning this color? Why are my plants turning that color? And the guy's like, dude, you just need some peroxide. So, but don't just put peroxide in your plants if you're replaying this. So, all right, my aloha, maho, pano. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. I will be coming back on. Probably not tomorrow night unless I can get something together. But I'm working on something it might push my podcast into an hour and a half for the next show that I do plan on doing, because it's a rather larger subject. And there's quite a few different things that coincide with that. So, do I think there will be a need for community soon? Look, we needed communities 2,000 years ago. We needed communities 1,000 years ago. There is always a need for community. The problem is society has taught you that you don't need communities, that all you need is Facebook, and you need YouTube, and you need Twitter, and you need followers, and you need likes, and you need shares. You don't need physical interaction and physical contact with people anymore, because that's so 1980s. And you combine that with this pandemic and us being sheltered in place, you will always need communities. However, you're going to really need to be a part of communities when shit really starts hitting the fan. You see shit starting to splutter now. We've got a spray of aroma shit mist in the air. It hasn't hit the fan yet. It's coming. But when it gets there, you cannot do it all on your own. You can't rely on yourself for every single thing. I don't care how badass you think you are, how much posturing you tell yourself in the mirror and online, that when this thing hits, you're going to be fucking Rambo and King of the Hill. It doesn't work that way. That's Hollywood. Nobody's that badass. I don't care how badass you are to begin with. I can walk up right behind you and shoot you in the back of the fucking head. How badass are you then? You need somebody watching your back. And the only way to do that is to be in communities. And you need to be in communities with people that you trust and rely on. You're going to have this natural separation, and it's always been this way, and it always will be. You're going to have the negative people that will congregate with the negative people. Positive people will congregate with positive people. It's the way it is in life anyway, except that now we surround ourselves with negative people, and we're taught that that's a good thing, because those negative people keep us sharp, keep us on our toes, and they keep reminding us that, we need to fix ourselves. But when they're doing it in a negative way, all they do is drag you down. So fear is the mind killer. Fear is all of these different amalgamations of unknowns that is brought and presented to you to wool your eyes to the truth. Fear is a form of control, in the same way that religion is a form of control, in the same way that government is a form of control, in the same way that food is a form of control. Fear, Gus was just talking about fear now. Fear is just a key, but shall never open up my door. Right. Well, fear is a key, but fear is also a 400-pound man that knows how to kick doors in. You see, you can't control your fear when you come across something that you didn't know you were afraid of. Right. And I don't want to demagogue anybody for having confidence in themselves. I have confidence in myself. But what I will not do is bullshit myself and bullshit other people. That, I'm going to use you as an example, Gus, but I'm not picking on you. When someone says fear is just a key, it'll never kick my door open. How the fuck do you know? Has anyone ever tried kicking your door open before with a shotgun or a gun in their hand? Have you blown them out of their shoes? Right? We do this. We talk like that. We postulate and we prop ourselves up online to make ourselves look important. Again, not you, not you, Gus, but I'm seeing this. Like what you said was fine. I don't want you to think that I'm actually attacking you, but it's like we don't know how we're going to respond in situations we've never been. Because if you did know, then you might as well fucking play the lottery every week, because you know more than every other human being that's ever existed. If you know how you're going to react to every situation that comes down the road. Well, what is a black swan but a situation that is unknown, that came out of nowhere, and that brings this entire system down with it? And how are you prepared for all of that? No one is. I'm not. And I'm more prepared than most. And I'm not prepared at all for that stuff. I'm not going to postulate and tell myself and tell my viewers and tell my subscribers and tell everybody that I meet that I'm the baddest fucking thing that ever walked this planet. I'm not going to do that because I'm not. But I can come online and I can tell people that all fucking day long. I say, look at these fucking muscles. I'll choke you out with these. You see how easy it is to do that? But someone come knocking on my door and say, all right, motherfucker, choke me out. Let's see how quick I would. Right? People hide behind computer screens. They hide behind illusions that they have crafted for themselves in this technologically driven world. I'm merely trying to wake those people up and tell them that what is coming, no one in this modern culture is prepared for. Now, people in Africa, I've told you, this is just a Sunday for them. They experience this type of hardships every day. It's not much for them to adjust to. They have nothing whatsoever. However, when you're a fat, lazy, and happy American who's reaped the benefits of being number one since you were born, you're going to be in for a rude awakening when we have all of that stripped away from us, when we have all of this power and influence taken away from us, when you're no longer in this mindset that internet's a basic right. I guess that basic right to have internet. I mean, come on. Well, you know. So, let's see. I'm old fashioned and we grow our own. Yeah. See, I'm new to growing food. And see, so Gus says fear mongering. No, I only fear that BS that I get on the internet, and even that I fear is not always. Yeah, again, I wasn't just so I wasn't attacking you, Gus. I was just using what you said as an example. What you said specifically was fine, but just I added some drama to it because I do experience that. I do come across people, when I'm watching videos, they'll post in the comment, yeah, we need to fucking take this government down. We need to raise up and bear arms and march on Washington. I'm like, okay, do it. What are you going to replace that government with? How are you going to get those people organized? How are you going to come up with a plan that's not somehow online or somehow doesn't been found out by people that listen to shit like that? You see, you're just speaking, you're just propagating, you're just bullshitting to make yourself look cool, good, and bad. How are you going to overtake this government? Oh, there ain't enough people in this country to overtake our government, because I'm going to tell you something that they have that they don't, that we don't think about. They don't need manpower to remain in control. They don't need that. They don't need to gun us down. All they have to do is simply just abandon us, right? We start marching towards Washington with guns in hands and pitchforks and knives. There's not going to be anybody in Washington to receive you. They're going to be in their fucking $1 million mansions with their 10-year supply of food and water and say, all right, you dumb fuckers, do it on your own. Watch how fast we would devolve into a country like Nairobi, Congo, all these other third world countries where people kill other people for a bag of rice. That's exactly what happened. People don't think that far ahead. All you care about is looking badass on the internet. And fortunately, that's going away. I'm really happy about that because a crisis will always reveal your character. And a lot of us don't have good characters. So, all right. Well, that was my rant for tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming. Miss Tribal, this was going to be a short video tonight, but I have something planned. Not for Wednesday night, but for probably Thursday night. So let's see what Gus said. Gus said, so F off, LOL, you're all done in the Cocoa Fry. I think you're from Europe, right? Go find others that are subject to that crap that you also spread. So I don't know if you're talking to me or if you're just making a statement, but either way. I agree with what you say. You shouldn't buy into porn, fear porn. You shouldn't buy into the idea that, believe that you should be terrified for something without no evidence to back it up. See, everything that I tell people that you should be aware of is things that I can back up. However, fear is natural. You can't suppress something that will naturally happen. You can become exposed to certain things. Like, for example, it's someone who has a fear of heights, right? You can train yourself over time, and it takes time to not be as terrified for, as you were if you had done nothing, right? So you go up, you go higher and higher on every day on another, another floor of a building. Eventually, you can train that fear. That fear will always be there, right? You'll always have that fear, but it won't control you. And that's the point that I bring up, that we don't know where that point is, that fear controls us and fear doesn't control us in a situation and scenario that you've never been in. So I've never been in a situation where we could possibly have a global economic collapse, which I think is going to happen, but it's just my opinion. We're going to have a situation where thousands and thousands, if not millions of people across the world are going to die of starvation, right? That's a level of fear that most Americans don't know. You know, our homeless people, on average, weigh more than the working class of Kenya in Africa. On average, we have more body fat. Our homeless eat better in this country than people who work 50, 60 hours a week in other countries eat. And we're not used to that. We're not used to having to struggle like that anymore, because for the last 20, 25 years, we have been on the top of this technological hill where life has just gotten easier and happier and better. And at the same time, life has gotten harder and less livable because of debt. But we're told that debt is good, right? So everything is upside down in this world today. It's crazy. So I've been to Walmart and I walked the cheese aisle. I've seen the Rebel Army. I wasn't impressed. Can't remember where I heard that. I love cheese. I hope we don't, you know, I need to learn how to make cheese. I got to get a cow. So, all right. Last thing I'm going to read before we're going to get out of here. So we are blessed with 40 acres in the Missouri Ozarks. I did my basic training in Missouri in the Ozarks. Beautiful, but fucking, you're talking about mosquitoes this big. We'd like to chat with other serious awake peeps. I don't want to tell all on a chat. Yeah, if you're welcome, you know, I'll go ahead and type in my email address. You're welcome if you want to send me something. That's fine. I'm pretty open book. All right, guys. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, Thursday night, I will have something way more planned. And I hope I hope Gus is on my side. I hope I didn't upset him. So, all right, guys, I'm going to hit that outro and you guys have a good one. Aloha, mahana pano.